Hi, this is Guitar Man Chilling, and we're going to be moving on with the third lesson today. I'd like to start by just touching on an amplifier. Now, we're talking about beginning guitar, so I don't advise putting any kind of good money into an amp at this point. You can if you want to, but anything that you can basically get a sound out will be fine for now. Later, maybe in way down the line, we'll talk about great amplifiers, and what to look for. But those are so personal. Amplifiers are kind of a personal thing. It's if you go to a music store, they'll help you out with that, and you'll be able to try them all out and see what you're really after. But right now, we're just starting out. So let's move on to in guitar picks. A minor thing, but this happens to be a Dunlop pick. Now it doesn't matter what type you use. This is a nylon pick. They last a long time. It's a gray nylon. It's a standard size pick. It's not a big triangular job or anything. It's easy to hold. It's got a little etching on it on both sides, so it kind of grips your fingers a little better. I like them, but regardless, just a standard pick is all you're after. No matter what you choose, if you want to use a Fender or a Gibson or whatever name you like on there, but this is a Dunlop. It's made out of nylon. It's a good pick. Okay, so moving on. Why don't we start? Let's start by learning the notes of the guitar. Okay, so remember that the high string, the high E, and the low E, okay, you're going to always talk about strings as first string, high, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, low E, sixth. Okay, the notes on the first string are going to be the same notes as on the sixth string. They're the exact same notes. So if we go up the neck, it'd be E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. We're back to E. Well, there's an E, right? High E, first string. 12th fret, back to E again. You're going to start the same thing all over again. So what it is they're what they call an octave apart, okay? So on the B string, B, 12th fret, same note again. The same way, right up the strings. Open G on the third string, 12th fret, G again. Open D, 12th fret, D. A open on the fifth string, A on the 12th fret, same note, an octave apart. Open E on the sixth string, the low E, E on the 12th fret, 12 frets apart, same note, octave apart. Okay, so the notes are this, starting on the sixth, the heavy string, the E string, low E, E, F, first fret, third fret is G, so E, F, G, A string, A, that's the fifth string, open A, second fret, fifth string, B, third fret, fifth string is C, A, B, C. Okay. Fourth string, open D, second fret, E, third fret, fourth string, F, D, E, F. The third string, the G string, open G, second fret, A, and we're going to stop there, okay? G, A. Now, the second string is the B string, open B note, first fret, second string is C, third fret, second string is D. So B, C, D. B, C, D. Okay, first string, open E, first fret, first string, F, third fret, first string, G, E, F, G, just like where we started. The sixth string, E, F, G, first string, E, F, G. Okay, so that's a good start on your notes. Now the way I'd like you to practice them is like this. Memorize the names, and I know you're going to find this boring. A lot of, especially rockers, the guys who want to learn rock, they're going to go, I don't want to learn all this note stuff. I want to get it right to the thick of it, and we're going to touch on that in a second. But at any rate, the notes are E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, and by the way, I want you to pick them all in the beginning with downstrokes. That means we're not going to go up, we're not going to go down and up when we're picking. We're just going to go down for now. Downstroke, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? And do them over and over again and say them as you're doing it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, and do them slowly as you need to. There's no rush. We're not in a rush here. I saw, when I was browsing on the internet, I saw this thing. It said, learn to be a guitar god in 5 lessons. Come on. A guitar god in 5 lessons. I think they forgot to put the 2 zeros behind there. They meant 500 lessons, and you'll spend 10 times that many hours. But remember, you know, guitar god, to me, that means somebody that can play jazz, rock, classical, you know, all the types in between all that. They know every chord in the book. They know every scale in the book. Can you imagine how much time that takes? Okay. Some people work a lifetime if they even want to try and call themselves a god at one particular style of music. So don't get absurd about it. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while, but you know, I'm going to try and teach you how to play some good guitar here. So regardless, that's what I want you to work on mainly. You see the notes for this lesson: E, F, G, A, B, C, and try and lay your fingers down in just in the order you see. This is for good form as a beginner. You know, on the 1st fret, use your 1st finger. 2nd fret, use your 2nd finger. 3rd fret, use your 3rd finger. Okay, so you're not trying to do 1 finger type of deal or something. You know, you have to using all your fingers accordingly. So E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so do those forward. And if you get real good at it, you want to do them backwards. Do them backwards. It's all the better. All this is mind training. It's learning your notes, learning your fretboard, and that's where I'm taking you right now. And you're going to see where all this comes into play as we move on through the lessons. But I mean, I could teach you right off the bat how to slam down on some bar chords and you know, do some power chords and just make a lot of noise out of your amplifier. That's not what I call learning guitar. I don't think you would either after you've seen it. Yeah, you'll play guitar, you'll play a little guitar fast, but you'll never get the whole thing down that well, you know. This is a systematic way of learning guitar where you're going to know a lot of stuff when you're done. But I'm not going to get so technical as to bore you to tears. Okay, we're not going to get into note reading and all that. It's a whole different segment. We're going to stick to learning the fretboard, the notes on the fretboard, and where they're positioned, how to use your fingers, how to get your fingers going. That's what we're going to concentrate on right now. Let me see how much time we got going here. There's another thing I want to touch on, and that's you need a good representation sitting in front of you of a guitar fretboard with the notes laid out. Now, I went on the internet, go to Google. I don't care what site you go to. I went to Google. I went to guitar fretboard notes. Okay, that brought me to you know, a bunch of choices. Then I went to about the 3rd or 4th one down. It says know your notes, the guitar fingerboard. Okay, know your notes dash the guitar fingerboard. And I found a nicely laid out little chart. I don't think you can see this on my camera, but I'm going to try and turn it at different angles so that you can maybe see it. But what this is this is the guitar fretboard laid out. And I wrote a few notes on here myself, but always when you're looking at a fretboard, the high E string, the 1st string, is always on top. And the low 6th string, the low E string, is always on the bottom. That's the way you read a fretboard. I thought I saw some with them reversed on the internet, and I don't know what they're thinking of. You never look at a fretboard that way. It's always like this. Okay, 1st string on top, 6th string on bottom. You'll notice that the 1st and 6th strings have the same notes on them, okay? Now, this guy, he wrote a note in here. If you print out the 2nd page of this site I told you, you know your notes, the guitar fingerboard, and then you go to the fingerboard. Okay, scroll down to the fingerboard. You're going to see just what I'm showing you here, and it's going to be an entire fretboard layout up to the 12th fret, which is all you need, because after that it duplicates itself. Okay, and at any rate, he didn't type in the sharps or flats for the clarity of reading the fretboard, which is a great idea for now. You know that a sharp is raising a note and a flat is lowering it. So what do we have here? If we wanted to read every note on the, let's say on the 6th string, it would be E, F, and then F sharp, and then G. Now you can also call this 2nd fret a G flat. So E, F, F sharp, or G flat, G, and then G sharp, and then A sharp, or by the way, the next note is B. So this can be an A sharp or a B flat on the, well, that's the 6th fret sixth string. It can be either or. But do know that, so a sharp raises, a flat lowers, okay? I'm going to get into the notes and the steps a little later. In other words, well, let's just take a second right now. Okay, on the scale, you know, on a when you're in a C scale, okay, the C scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So if you played it on the guitar, let's start here, for example. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, well, on a C scale, there's all the notes have one step in between them, one full step. One full step equals 2 frets. So between G and A, that's a full step and it's 2 frets. Okay. Now walking up the neck here, try and follow me on here. This isn't that hard. Now walking up the neck, so from G to A, there's a full step. From A to B, there's a full step. But B to C, there's only a half step. Okay, there's a half step. So in the C scale, there are 2 groups of notes that only have a half step. The rest of them all have a full step. The 2 groups of notes are E to F and B to C. So open E to F has a half step. F to G a full, G to A a full step or 2 frets, same thing. A to B, 2 frets, 1 full step, and B to C, you have a half step. Okay, so E to F and B to C, you have half steps. Okay, now it's not important to lock all that in, you know, terribly strong right now, but you need to know it. Try and work on it with this lesson. Try and memorize what I've told you. So the C scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, and when you get back to C, you've gone an octave up the neck. Okay, so C to C. We're getting close to the end of this lesson. I try not to go over 15 minutes per lesson because, you know, I got to load all this onto YouTube. And so, but at any rate here, I think on the next lesson, I might go on to, I might take to break some of the boredom, is bring you on to a chord you're going to work quite a while on, which is a bar chord. And that's what we're going to do on lesson number 4. Let me see. You know what? I think, but let's start at least fingering some open chords. Now you can find how to finger open chords a lot of places on the internet. I haven't looked that up for you, but I can only imagine how many sites there must be. But you know, some of the easier chords to get started on would be like the C chord. I think that's the first chord that anybody teaches anybody when they're learning guitar. It's probably the first one I learned, the C chord. Okay. And so what you're going to do is you're going to you're going to start with your third finger on the 3rd fret, 5th string. Okay? You're going to put your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string. Your 3rd string, your G string, is going to be open, and your C and your 2nd string, you're going to put your 1st finger on the 1st fret. So that G is open, okay? Okay, and so you can play, and then the 1st string you play open. Now you can play your open E if you want to. You don't have to play it in the C chord because you're duplicating it a couple times. So this open E note, you can play it if you choose, but it probably sounds best when you start just by playing the 5th string on down. So you're playing the 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. Okay, so that's the C chord. Okay, that's probably one of the first chords that you should know. Another chord is the D chord. Okay, D chord. So why don't we play the D chord? We're going to play it with just with the 4 strings. We're going to play the 4th string open. We're going to put our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. 2nd fret, 3rd string. We're going to put our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string. Okay, and we're going to put our 1st finger on the 2nd fret, 1st string. And that's the D chord. So you're going to play the 4th string, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Okay, now you can go ahead and play the 5th string. It's still a D chord. You're just changing the the bass note that's going to ring out dominantly. Okay, but whichever way you want to play it is fine. Okay, and typically when they start teaching people, they play from the fourth down, fourth string down, because then you hear the dominant D note ringing out. So any rate, so there's two chords for you to work on: the C and the D. Okay, so work on those. Try and get them down with the fingering, and you're gonna find it takes a lot of work to get these down, because you're gonna end up muffling strings. You can't lay your finger like your third finger that's on the second string. If you lay it over against the first string, you're gonna get this sound. You can't have that happen. They have to go right down on the string, and the next one has to ring too. So you can't have the meat of your finger laying on any other string, or you're gonna get this kind of sound. So when you're testing your chords and how you're doing, you wanna go down them slowly and go, am I playing this chord right? What do I need to change? Am I muffling things, Do I have, So it's easy to muffle strings, You can get any finger out of whack and muffle another string. So make sure to play down them slowly. Make sure you're playing the chord correctly. The C chord, D chord. Okay? So, anyway, we're gonna stop there, and good luck.